In this video, we're going to talk about how do you make bad photos that you have of you presenting. How do you make the bad ones still look good so you can use them?
How'd you do that?
I see that success is not something you pursue. It is something you are.
All right, so you might be like me. You might have had some bad pictures where you're on stage and you just can't really use it. Maybe it doesn't turn out too well. It's grainy or whatever. And you just can't really use it for your marketing. So how do you take these bad pictures and how do you make them look good? Just, oh, so good. And so at first, I used to just throw all these pictures away. I used to say like, dang it, it looks horrible, delete, delete, delete. But eventually I realized, well, I can turn these pictures no matter how, well, almost no matter how bad it looks, I can make it look better and I can still use it eventually for something. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video, because first, let me show you a before and after picture. So here's what this picture looks like before. This is just an okay looking picture. Now, let me show you what it looks like after. So when I use this picture, this is a picture I use for just marketing stuff in general. And what I did is I used apps, and I use apps on my phone, and you can get all kinds of apps on your phone. And I'm not going to talk about which apps because I can guarantee by the time I say, oh, here's my favorite app, it's probably going to get deleted and then some new app is going to pop up or something. Basically, you just use the photo apps on your phones and you start playing around with it. Let me show you another before and after picture. So here's a regular photo of me. Let me show you the same photo, but a little bit better. Now you're probably saying like, well, that looks the same. I mean, it looks exactly the same, but that's what perfection looks like. I'm just kidding. So really what I do in terms of the actual pictures is I look to see what the picture is and I say, okay, if it's not completely horrible, even if it's blurry, I can even work with a blurry picture. But if it's not completely horrible, I will go into these apps and I'll play with the apps on my phone and I'll literally just kind of figure out what can I do with this picture. Most of the pictures that you take, you should keep. Even if you kind of keep in a folder that says junky photos, you should still keep those because eventually you could even make a video like this where you say, hey, here's some junky looking photos and how to make these photos look better. And you'll be able to use those junky looking photos. And so everything comes down to image in terms of if you want to charge more. And a perfect example of this was when I got a gig in Finland and they paid about $20,000 to bring me out there. And the first thing he said, so I asked him, I said, hey, like, how'd you guys hear about me? And I asked him that. And he said, first thing, he was like, well, to be honest, like, we didn't even think we could afford you. And we didn't think you'd be available because of the way you look. In turn, he was speaking about my website, my videos and all that stuff. And they booked me, it was like 7-8 months out. And I mean, they paid almost 20 grand and he thought I charged more for one. And he also, I should have charged more. He thought I charged more for one, but he also thought I was going to be booked up like a year in advance or so. And so when you have the right image and you know how to take simple things like these pictures, these junky looking pictures and make them look better, you can just make more money in general. That's really the power of your image. That's the power of having a good presence. And so the secret to making bad pictures look good is to just play around with the apps, just download an app, play around with it and just start using different filters. And eventually you'll learn how to make these pictures look really good. And in terms of when you're looking at a picture of me, there's just no way to make it look better. I mean, it's just what perfection looks like. Can't help it. I'm ridiculous.